Incorporated. This is the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Now, live in studio, your host, local real estate expert, Jamie Meloni.
Hi again, everybody. Thanks for tuning in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show once again here every Mondays at noon. You got a great show planned for you guys today. In studio today, we're going to be talking with Jerry Hatch. He's with Temco Pest Control. He is the Business Development Director, so we'll be talking all about pest control in the second part of the show. And we'll be talking with fellow realtor Jim Blandford, and he's also a sinkhole adjuster. He's with Anclote Key Realty, but he's got a lot of experience in dealing with sinkhole settlement issues and a lot of great information. So we'll be talking with him here in a little bit on the show as well. And I'd just like to invite you to my website, Off the Air, if you're just finding me for the first time. I am a real estate agent with Coldwell Banker here in the Tampa, Florida region, specialized in the sale of bank-owned properties and been in business over 7 years now. And I and my team work with about 45 different bank and servicers and asset management companies. And I invite you over to my website, Off the Air, TampaBayRadio.com, where you can find all of my listings, as well as links to all of my past shows and streamcasts, and also past guest info. Got a great network of past guests, especially in the contracting field. So if you're looking for any recommended contractors in the Tampa Bay region to do some work, head over to TampaBayRadio.com, click on the past guests section, and click on the card and shoot them an email. Also in studio today, got the lovely Stella Giudicelli with me as always. Stella, how are you doing today?
I am excellent. How are you, Jamie?
Hey, doing great.
How was your weekend?
Hey, it was pretty good. I was at the Motley Crue concert last night, so I'm a little bit, underrested.
This?
You don't even know who that is, do you?
No.
Yeah, figures. Being from France, you don't know who they are. Just probably one of the biggest bands of the 1980s.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, they are on their final farewell tour, and they came to Tampa last night with Alice Cooper opening up. And
farewell tour?
Farewell
tour.
Sad?
Was it a sad?
It's kind of sad, yes.
To see them go? Okay.
Yes, it was kind of sad. I'm realizing that I'm getting older now, and, the guys that I grew up listening to are Vince Neil was kind of overweight. He's the lead singer. The other guys were still thin and, looked, like they did in the 80s. But, yeah, Vince Neil definitely had, the years had taken its toll on him. His voice had dropped off, and he had put on some weight versus the way he looked in the 80s.
Okay.
And he had Alice Cooper opening for him. I don't know if you're familiar with Alice Cooper.
Am I supposed to be?
No, not being from France. No, and most people, who today's youth are probably not as familiar with him. I always say he was kind of like the Marilyn Manson of his days in the 70s.
I see. Mm-hmm.
He puts on a very theatric show, which was kind of a shock and awe routine for the 70s. By today's standards, it's not that impressive, but nonetheless, a great show. Always interesting to see Tommy Lee, the drummer for Motley Crue. He has a drumming apparatus that extends over into the crowd and flips him upside down, and he does his drum solo during being upside down and all around and stuff. So it's a pretty entertaining show. A lot of pyrotechnics, a lot of blasts, very loud show, but had a great time this weekend. Very sad to see them on their farewell tour. They're one of my favorite bands of the 80s.
Very cool.
Yeah. I want to go ahead and go to my credit segment. I got Bill Lavender, who's a regular contributor here to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. Bill Lavender has over 30 years of experience in financial and credit businesses and started credit restoration services 15 years ago. Bill's program includes analyzing your credit report and creating a master plan for getting you where you need to be, and helping with debt settlement and writing letters to collection agencies, as well as ongoing personal help and support throughout the process. Bill is highly recommended by leading banks, mortgage companies, and realtors and home builders. Bill, welcome to the show.
Hey, how are you, Jamie? Good to be with you today.
Hey, thanks for chiming in again. Always happy to hear what you got to say about the credit markets and how people can better prepare themselves for buying real estate and making sure their credit scores are up to speed. Want to talk a little bit about today with you some of the practices that are off limits to debt collectors. What do you got for us on that?
Well, there is an epidemic. I'm serious, a real epidemic of debt collectors that are literally breaking all the laws. There's a set of laws called the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act that Congress put into motion quite a number of years ago. And, I'm getting all kinds of calls and input from people saying, what do I do? Let me just just list a few, and this, what I'm giving you right now, is part of the law that Congress put into place and comes directly from the Federal Trade Commission. First of all, practices that are off limits. The first one is harassment. Debt collectors may not harass, oppress, or abuse you in any way. Let me give you an example. They can't call you earlier than 8 in the morning or later than 9 at night, Monday through Saturdays, and cannot call you on Sundays at all. They cannot use any kind of a threat. They cannot use obscene or profane language. They cannot repeatedly use the phone to annoy you. They cannot call your place of employment. They can't make false statements. They can't falsely claim, for example, that the non-payment of a debt constitutes a crime, or threaten to have you arrested. And that's just some of the high points. I'm getting calls today that someone's been called on their job. This is a true story. One of my clients called me the other day and said that debt collector had called her, said that they were going to have her prosecuted and arrested, and that there was an agent of law enforcement standing outside of her place of employment ready to arrest her if she didn't immediately make a payment over the telephone.
Now, when you get those types of calls, how do you assist them? Do you refer them to legal assistance, or how does that work?
Well, I don't right away. Now, there are provisions in the law that provide monetary damages as well as punitive damages. For example, you can get up to $1,000 for all, per time. But the first thing that I do to help people is I say, look, let's take a deep breath, back up a notch. What they did violated the law. So what I want you to do is call them back and say, before we get started, you're on a recorded line. I want your name, first and last name. I want the name of the company that you're representing and their street address and zip code. And usually, if somebody calls back and requests that, they'll probably get a hang-up.
Right.
And I try to get them to handle it without getting an attorney involved. But if it's very seriously chronic and it's repeated, then I have a law firm in Tampa that I deal with on a regular basis that specializes in consumer credit law.
Do you see certain collection agencies as being repeat offenders, or do you see this kind of across the board?
It's not across the board. They're what I call bottom feeder, low life. That really, I think they're a criminal element in society. I won't name them on the air, but there are a number that are chronically involved in this type of thing, and I've had them even say to people, "I'm going to send a deputy out and arrest you in front of your kids and take you to jail." Wow. That went out with the Mayflower when
right.
the Pilgrims came over here. There is no crime whatsoever in not paying a debt that you legitimately owe.
And is there
no
certain
criminal statutes involved whatsoever? You cannot be arrested. On top of that, there's a 4-year statute of limitations in Florida from the day the debt went delinquent for any kind of civil action to be brought against you. So consumers are literally being hijacked today by these unscrupulous people.
Is there a certain type of lien, or like a car loan or mortgage, or just the medical bills that these types of collection agencies sort of swarm around, or is it all types of debts?
It's all types.
All types.
Everything from medical to car loans to credit cards, and it's just usually it's a debt collector who has purchased at a terrific discount an old debt. We've seen them resurface from 10, 15 years ago and try to aggressively come after people and threaten them.
Well, glad you're out there helping my listenership as well as the general public. How can the listeners who are listening to you right now get in touch with you to help them out?
Give me a call. My office phone is 813-655-9451. Once again, 813-655-9451. They can also go on my website, which is creditdrbill.com. Creditdrbill.com.
All right, Bill.
Or, of course, they can contact your show and get
Absolutely.
the information, too.
Absolutely, Bill. Thank you very much for being a contributor to the show, and have a great week.
Thank you, Jamie.
All right, if you're just tuning in, that was Bill Lavender of Bill Lavender Credit Solutions, a regular contributor here to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show. And if you didn't get his information, feel free to contact me through the TampaBayRadio.com website, and I'll be happy to put you in touch with him. But you also find him at my website on the Expert Contributors page as well. If you're just tuning in, you've been listening again to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. Coming back from break, we're going to be talking about some of our listings that are currently on the market, and we're also going to be talking with Jerry Hatch, Business Development Director of Tempco Pest Control, so please stay tuned.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 1179063. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. You're listening to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Maloney. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Maloney Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. Again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as this show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off the air, you can find me on my website, TampaBayRadio.com, and also to all the potential home sellers in the Tampa Bay region, I offer a free home valuation. Just text the word value to my cell phone, which is 813-760-8516. Again, text the word value to 813-760-8516, and I offer you a free home valuation. And if you've bought a home in the Tampa Bay region here in the last couple of years, you may be surprised what your home's worth, as we've seen values come up anywhere between 15 and 20%, especially up in the New Tampa and southeastern Hillsborough County in the newer subdivision homes. A lot of demand from in those markets right there from institutional investors, and definitely can help you out there. Again, just text the word value to 813-760-8516. I want to go over to Stella Giudicelli now. She is also a realtor with Coldwell Banker here in the Tampa, Florida region, and she's got a listing she wants to talk about. Stella, what do you got for us?
Yes, well, I was a busy bee this weekend. I had an open house. And we had, I believe, approximately 100 people coming to the house.
That's pretty impressive to have 100 people come through an open house.
Yeah, it's really an exquisite and very well-priced property. So I have to say, at one point, I felt that I was in the Museum of Bungalows because I had people walking around and visiting the place from really, really...
I want to know how you got 100 people to this open house. What type of marketing did you do to attract that type of attention?
You know, I put on the MLS, I had an open house, and also I distributed some flyers. So I think there's a lot of excitement and interest about the house because it really has... It was redesigned by an architect, and it really has an interesting and unique architectural approach. So the price of the property coupled with the architecture just attracted a lot of people and real estate agents as well.
What's the address and where's this listing at? So tell us a little bit about that.
Right. So the address is 3001 West Chapin Avenue. It's at the intersection of Bartlett and Chapin Avenue. So it's a corner lot. It's priced at $600,000. And really the value of the property mainly comes from, first of all, the location. So it's an elevated corner lot of 8,750 square feet.
And real quick, this is in South Tampa?
It is in South Tampa,
okay.
correct. It's 1 block away from Bay Shore, 6 houses away, 220 yards, whatever speaks the most to you. So really close to Bay Shore. And two very important points about the lot, it's that it is not in a flood zone and it is in Plant High School District as well, which we know a lot of people obviously value that aspect for their kids. So that's about the lot. Now regarding, the property and raw details about the property, it is 2,701 square feet. There is 3 bedrooms, and each bedroom has its own bathrooms. There is a pool and heated spa, and there is a 2-car detached garage.
Yeah, we just saw a picture of it up on
Right.
the Streamcast
Yeah.
there. All my shows, to the people that are listening on the radio, all my shows are streamed live. You can find the live stream over at TampaBayRadio.com. Just click on Show Info tab and click on Live Stream, and you'll see a picture of the home, and as well as you'll see us here live in studio talking. It's a pretty unique looking home, very beautiful.
Right.
What
And
year was
really-
that? What year was that built?
It was built in 1918, and really when you look at the picture, I can describe a little bit to you. It's a very interesting piece of property. And when you go in the house, you absolutely have an experience. So now this is an airplane bungalow. Do you know, Jamie, what makes a bungalow an airplane bungalow?
No, I'm not familiar with that
Okay,
term.
so when you look at the picture, if John, you can put the picture back on. It is the pop-up floor that you can see that is usually 1 room or 2 rooms that makes it an airplane bungalow. And at the time, what that was, it was a sleeping porch where people could go and sleep at night to get a relief from the warmth, because there were not any AC, air conditioning, and so they were getting the breeze coming from the bay. Now it is an airplane bungalow because that is the cockpit of the house.
That's interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
so it's really interesting. And the second aspect of the house that really make it unique is that it was bought by an architect which redesigned the property according to Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture. And the main feature about that is that you're in harmony with nature. So he replaced the walls, as you can see, by windows. So the front window here is 40 feet wide, but really it gives you half panoramic of the street. And a lot of people have asked me about the beams on top of the house and think it's an Asian feature. Really, what that is the architect replicated how plane looked like at the time, pretty much. There was so much infatuation about men being able to fly, and especially in America, because it was, an American achievement by the Wright brothers. So those beams are actually duplicating the wings of gliders. And they are inside and they're also outside. And or structurally, what they're doing too is they're supporting the superstructure of the house, and they're resting on brick pillars. So when you're inside the house, the experience is pretty amazing. And just to give you a vision of it, as you can see too, the lot is elevated. So when you go up there, you go up the floors, there's different levels of vegetation. It's pretty much like you're walking into a plane,
Right.
And then when you're up there, you can have a glass, your coffee in the morning, or a glass of wine, or in my case, it would be a glass of champagne. And you're really up there looking out at the world and the street, and you looking from up there, because the lot is elevated, and you have your pilot in the cockpit up there. So it's a great piece of property. Again, the address is 3001 West Chapin Avenue. If anyone wants to go and look at the property, they can call me or text me at 813-503-8431. Again, Stella. 813-503-8431, and I'll give them a special tour of the property.
Hey, great job, Stella. Very impressive marketing as well. So people that are in the South Tampa region looking to sell their home, you got to get in touch with Stella. And very unique marketing that you don't see a lot of realtors doing, and she put a lot of effort into this listing. And getting 100 people at an open house is something you don't usually see.
I appreciate it, Jamie. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. I want to go over to my first guest now, Jerry Hatch. He is the regional service manager at Temco Pest Control here in Tampa, Florida, and his responsibilities include pest management, customer service, and business development throughout the Tampa Bay area. Hatch received his AS in environmental health from Excelsior College and enjoyed a successful career in the U.S. Navy. He has held a variety of key positions within local and national pest control companies and possesses over 35 years of experience in the industry. He is also a board-certified entomologist and certified food safety professional and sanitarian. Hatch specializes in environmental health issues with a focus on public health and pest management. Jerry, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit more about Temco Pest Control.
Temco Pest Control is a family-owned company that's full service down in Fort Myers, and we cover everything from Orlando through Naples and everything along the coast, and basically do just about everything.
Now, when was it founded? How long has the company been around, did you say?
1991.
1991.
So we're coming up on 25 years now.
Okay. And what are you mostly seeing? I mean, are you mostly dealing with termites, or are you dealing with a whole variety of pests out there?
We basically cover everything from animals to aardvarks to rats.
We got
roaches.
aardvarks in Florida?
Well, no. But we cover everything that is out there, except we don't fly crop dusters.
Right. Well, I guess if you had an aardvark, though, you would cover it, correct? What about snakes? Can we call you if we have a snake in the property?
Yes. And in fact, we've had to deal with a few snake calls, and we've also taken care of a lot of rats. Termites right now are real big. We're seeing a lot of Florida woods roaches, things like that.
Yeah. What type of termites are the most prevalent right now? I mean, there's three different types: subterranean, and then the dry wood. Is it?
Yes.
Dry wood, and then there's another one, Formosan or something as well.
Yes.
Which one are we having the most problems with right now?
Right now, we're running into dry woods. Predominantly, we're getting a lot of calls for them because they're ones that don't need to go back to the soil. And they can be somewhat of an issue because you end up having them in the wood framing. You can have them up in ceilings. You can have them in hidden areas that you wouldn't see until you see the frass or debris that they leave. And we just discovered recently in an apartment Formosans here in St. Pete.
That's a form of dry wood as well?
No, actually,
that's a completely different form.
It's a completely different one. It's a subterranean type species, and where most subterraneans that have 150,000 workers, this could have as many as 1 million.
Wow.
And are bigger. So it's one of those pests that we're very concerned with, but at the same time glad that we were able to find what we did.
Well, very interesting. Got to take a quick bottom of the hour break, but coming back from the break, we'll be talking a little bit more with Jerry Hatch about what you need to know to protect your home from pests in the Tampa, Florida region. And coming back also from the break, we're going to be hearing from Bud Spriggs with our mortgage market update. Bud Spriggs with Movement Mortgage. And again, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon. So I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off the air, again, you can find me at my website, tampabayradio.com. And feel free to shoot me an email, jamie@tampabayradio.com. Also, you can get me at my cell phone, 813-760-8516. Back in a moment.
It's time for the Morgan & Morgan Legal Brief.
A firm's mission statement defines your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. We take very seriously our obligations to our clients, many who come to us in their most desperate hour. Our mission is you, Morgan & Morgan. For the people.
Ron Diaz for Loki Motor Company. With elegant furnishings and best-in-class performance, the standard of modern luxury automobiles is Mercedes-Benz. Since 1952, Loki Motor Company has quietly become the first option for both Mercedes-Benz enthusiasts and first-time buyers. From the C-Class sedan or the soon-to-arrive GLA SUV, Loki Motor Company has inventory for everyone. Already a Mercedes-Benz owner? From service to repairs, let the professionals at Loki Motor Company demonstrate their own commitment to excellence. Loki Motor Company on US 19 in Clearwater. Take the Sam's Club access road off Gulf to Bay.
I'm Lex Friedman. I run my own business, so I know from experience, hiring new employees can be tough. Posting your job in one place isn't enough to find quality candidates. If you want to find the perfect hire, you need to post your job on all the top job sites, and now you can. With ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 50-plus job sites, including Craigslist, LinkedIn, and Twitter, all with a single click. Find candidates in any industry nationwide. Just post once and watch your qualified candidates roll in to ZipRecruiter's easy-to-use interface. No juggling emails or calls to your office. Quickly screen candidates, rate them, and hire the right person fast. Find out today why ZipRecruiter has been used by over 200,000 businesses. And right now, our listeners can post jobs on ZipRecruiter for free by going to ZipRecruiter.com/info. That's ZipRecruiter.com/info. One more time, to try it for free, go to ZipRecruiter.com/info.
Healthcare is one of the most important issues facing seniors today. Turning 65 doesn't mean you have to settle for less than the best care. Aging Well, airing Sundays at 1 p.m., is presented by WellMed Medical Management. Learn to ask the right questions. Saturdays at 1 p.m. on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Need AC? Call Simpson Air, the coolest guys in town. Log on to thecoolestguys.com.
This report is brought to you by Equate, available only at Walmart. Shop at Walmart and save every day on over 250 Equate health and wellness products at $4 or less. Products such as 2-pack of 100-count ibuprofen 200-milligram tablets or children's acetaminophen 4-ounce are $4 or less each. Save money so you can live better at Walmart.
From the Bright House Network Traffic Center, delays along southbound 275 from I-4 all the way into West Shore. An accident there is blocking the right lane. Eastbound along I-4, you're also at a crawl from Branch Forbes Road into Park Road with an accident involving an overturned vehicle that still has the right lane blocked. And slowdowns in Pinellas County with an accident southbound along East Lake Road at Trinity Boulevard. If you see a problem on the roadways, call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
1250 Winds, Weather Center forecast. Highs this afternoon in the lower to mid-90s as well. Sunshine, lots of it today. Not much cloud cover. It's up to 91 Brandon, Lakeland 90, 87 Tampa, Bradenton 91 Clearwater, 87 degrees. Slight chance of an isolated shower or storm. Had some a couple of showers in northern Hillsborough County, just north of Temple Terrace, New Tampa, right around the 75 to 75 apex, and also a couple near 75 south of Bay Waters. Tonight's lows in the upper 70s, and then we'll start to see warmer temps through the week. With low mid-90s and then a few mid-90s possible. Heat index going to be up at or above 100 pretty much all week long as well. Wall Street, Dow's up 169, NASDAQ positive 41, S&P index up by 16, Dow to 16,832. 1250 Wins, WHNZ.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. And again, you'll find my show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. We're talking with Jerry Hatch, Business Development Director of Temco Pest Control. And Jerry, real quick, why are termite inspections so important to homeowners?
It falls under the category of what you don't know can hurt you. Mm-hmm. And so we try to make sure that we're protecting both the buyer and seller by giving them complete information, not just what goes on the form, but also what we find that might create some issues later on for them.
So Jerry, I'd like to ask you this to really understand on how the termite treatment works. Whatever kind of termites there may be in the house, doing a yearly treatment with, usually people have a warranty and they're supposed to do it every year, should protect the house any damages. And when we see damages, it is because the maintenance around that wasn't followed up through properly by the owner. Is that how it is? When we see damage, is that big?
That's a great question. There's two different things there. There's subterranean and dry woods. You really can't do a preventative for dry wood unless it's done at the time when everything is exposed, because then you can use borates and things like that to get in and protect. But as far as subterraneans, they do a regular treatment, which can be a liquid or it can be a bait, and then they can maintain that with a termite bond that they keep yearly, and that's basically a protection. And we recommend that highly because you can make sure that you've always got that type of, we don't want to call it insurance, but it's something that's protecting you against any damage. So we can go in and treat whatever's there. So it's important for the customer to make sure they maintain that.
Right. So with regard to drywood, it's really a matter of being vigilant and seeing what's happening. There's no any procedure that can make sure that
As
you
far
just
as a preventive,
safe from it. Yeah.
The best thing you can do is an annual inspection. And we're finding now a lot of people are actually mailing out postcards saying, hey, pay your dues for this year and you're covered. And that's great, but if vegetation changed, a sinkhole developed, or if something happened where you're just not aware of the fact that you got drywoods, you really should have an annual inspection.
That's really interesting because in listings or when we look at properties, it looks like people are just surprised that there's drywood termites, and then so that's where it comes from.
You'll find them in all kinds.
To be vigilant.
Yeah, you find, and they're non-discriminating from nice homes to bad homes to all quality of maintenance on the homes. They're non-discriminating. You'll find them, and it's not a reflection of the type of person that's been living there at all.
Right. And so it's so convenient, Jamie, to be on this show because I can take advantage of being here and asking my, personal questions to your guests. So this is the next one for you, Jerry. I was at the house lately and I had one of my clients spotting wood ants. And I hadn't heard about it, and he said it's actually can be even worse than termites. So can you tell us more about that?
I believe he's probably talking about carpenter ants.
Okay.
And,
Carpenter, yeah, probably.
Carpenter ants are.
Was that my French ear? I guess I didn't. Okay.
Well, no, a lot of people call them different things.
Okay.
And we have a Florida carpenter ant, and it's basically it has a smaller colony, maybe 30,000 workers, versus the stuff you might see up north where they would have 100,000, maybe 200,000 workers. And they can do a lot of damage, but they don't actually eat wood. And so that's one of the differentiations is...
What damages can they do?
Well, they hollow it out to make nests.
Ooh.
So what they're doing is trying to create a home within your home. And they like to get into those hollow spaces. We found them inside of furniture that's been outside. I've found them inside of barbecues. All kinds of hollow
areas. What about
areas.
the structure of the house or beams or
they,
as well, right?
They like especially the hollow parts where you maybe put in some type of railroad ties, and they can get inside of there and hollow that out. They can get into like the Frank Lloyd Wright, bringing nature in, firewood, bringing firewood inside to be able to use either decoration or to burn. You can bring the carpenter ants in also.
Yeah,
so what's the solution against that?
A regular prescribed inspection and treatment if you need it.
Yeah,
okay, I guess we get the lesson today.
Yeah, and I mean a termite inspection, roughly $75 on average. They're not expensive to have somebody come through and take a look, and treatment obviously costs more, but for $75 a year, and also a lot of people don't know home insurance doesn't cover termite damage sometimes. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah. Oftentimes they don't even have it in there, and we like to make sure that we actually go around with moisture meters. All of our inspections are done on iPads even nowadays, so that we can be able to get the results over to the real estate people within an hour of doing the inspection.
A lot of good information there. Jerry, real quick, how can listeners get in touch with you off the air?
They can go to our website, which is www.temcopest.com, or they can call us at 727-585-2687.
All right, one more time. What's that phone number again?
727-585-2687.
Okay, what was the website? I got it as TemcoPestControl.com.
That's it, www.
Okay, TemcoPestControl.com.
Yes.
All right. Hey, thank you very much, Jerry, for coming on the show. A lot of great information. And if you didn't get his information, we'll get him up on the website after the show, and you can always reach out to him if you need any help with termites or any other pests, from aardvarks to snakes as well. So I want to go ahead and bring on my second guest, Jim Blandford. He is a realtor and sinkhole adjuster. He is with Anclote Key Realty. And in 1975, Jim became a claims adjuster and spent the next 16 years working for insurance companies. In 1992, he became a public insurance adjuster, utilizing his experience working for insurance companies to help individuals obtain a better settlement from those companies. He continued that career in Florida, handling primarily sinkhole claims on behalf of owners. It was soon after that when he became a realtor. Jim is so far the only realtor in the area that is also a licensed sinkhole adjuster. Jim has spent 25 years as a volunteer firefighter and EMT in Western New York and has been a guardian ad litem in Florida for 3 years. He is very active in local civil affairs and was fortunate enough to be selected by the West Pasco Board of Realtors as the 2013 Rookie of the Year. He is also a sales associate, as I said, with Anclote Key Realty here in Tarpon Springs. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So first of all, I want to hear about this Rookie of the Year. How'd you obtain that?
It must have been a slow year for West Pasco. I was amazed when I got it. Basically, I'm real into what I do, especially as far as getting people a little more up to speed and educated on what's going on with claims in general, especially here in this area, sinkhole claims and real estate. And I jumped in an opportunity. Like I say, it's a great group. They're very receptive, and I've learned as much from them as I've tried to.
Now, when you were selected as Rookie of the Year, is that based on sales, or is that based on uniqueness of what you knew, or what?
I don't think it was sales, so it had to be uniqueness or something. I
didn't even know there was a Rookie of the Year award out there.
I didn't either till I showed up that night.
But then again, there's different MLSs out there. I myself, being part of the Greater Tampa Association of Realtors, I'm not a member of the West Pasco Board of Realtors, although we all share information and everything. So tell me a little bit about the sinkhole, the settlement and adjustment process that you were involved in.
Well, let me tell you basically why I'm here. I spoke to a broker about a week ago who's been in the business a long time, probably 30 years, and we got talking about sinkholes a little bit. She says, well, I won't sell a house that's had a sinkhole because you can't get insurance and you can't get a mortgage. And I said, time out. That's changed. That situation is improving. What I'm trying to do is bring everybody up to the current scenario, which is much better for anyone that's had a sinkhole, which makes it better for realtors, both as a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. The situation now, if you've had a sinkhole claim and you have proper documentation, and it's been repaired properly, and that's key, and you can prove it, that house is now very sellable. And matter of fact, Mike Wells, the Pasco County assessor, basically says that that home will bring 95% of what any home would bring on the market, and I think he might even be a little conservative. I'd like to think if you're in a neighborhood that is prone to sinkholes, and there's several, in the surrounding counties, it gets worse as you go north, but they're here in Pinellas as well, in Hillsborough, that it would be worth more than any home on the market, because if it's been fixed right, again, you're not going to have any problems in the future, and you probably wouldn't need sinkhole coverage anyway.
I'm always amazed at the stigma that even a repaired sinkhole property carries, because if I'm in an area prone to sinkholes, I want one that's been remediated versus one that is not, because there's always a possibility it's going to creep up on yours.
Yes, and that's an excellent point. If you've got a sinkhole home and it has been defined as having a sinkhole and it has not been repaired, you're going to take a real hit in value when you go to sell it, and rightfully so. And I would say that home, because now you're talking, depending upon the cosmetic damages, the damages above ground, and what the estimates are to fix the damages below ground, you could be taking a hit of 30 to 70% on the value of that home when you go to sell it.
Now, we were speaking before this show about, we use the word sinkhole and settlement kind of synonymously, but they're actually very different terms when we're talking about insurance settlements. Let's talk about the difference, between these two terms.
Well, settlement, look at Florida, all the houses are built on sand. You're going to get some settlement no matter what. And, people see driveways with cracks in them, and, years ago there were companies going around and telling you, look, you got cracks in your driveway, we'll get you a big settlement. Sorry. They're built on sand, they're going to crack, and that's the way it goes. A sinkhole claim, a sinkhole is something that's been defined by an engineer, tested, and the testing typically runs $7,000 to $10,000 and was usually paid for by insurance companies. And they've done these tests and determined, yes, now after all this, we can definitively say it's got a sinkhole.
And you're saying that the test is $7,000 to $10,000 just to see if you have a sinkhole. What constitutes actually having a sinkhole, though? Is there a certain amount of a cavity that has to be formed?
Well, no, as long as you have a cavity, basically, and I'm not an engineer, Florida's, it's limestone at some point underground, anywhere from 20 to 100 feet and then some. And when the acidity of the rain creates a hole in the surface, the sands and the soils on the surface, and down 10, 20 feet, it creates that hole. That sand and that soil drains through that hole like an hourglass, and then it creates an opening underground, and that would be a sinkhole in a simple definition.
And the one thing about Florida is, you may get your home, looked at one year and it's fine. The next year it could come up again, correct?
Yes, and the other thing is,
you're never 100% safe. You just don't know.
Exactly, and sinkholes do not respect property lines. chances are if the neighbor had a sinkhole, there's a very good chance you might have one too. Conversely, if you have neighbors on both sides that have had sinkholes, yours might get filled up for free if they have them repaired.
Interesting enough. And what type of processes is used to remediate sinkholes? Is they just pump them full of concrete or grout, essentially?
That's one of the ways, and I don't think it's the more desirable way. The other one is called pinning. And pinning, again, to put it simply, if you're sitting in a room right now, let's consider the floor to be limestone, and the desk or the table you're at would be the surface of the ground, whether it be grass or a parking lot or whatever it is. Pinning is putting the legs on that table and connecting them to the limestone. Gives you a much more secure surface and much more solid repair.
I've always said it's kind of like putting the hope up on stilts. You're pinning it to the bedrock.
There you go.
Pinning it to the bedrock.
And if you're going to buy a home that's had a sinkhole repair, you want to make sure that home has been pinned. I myself would have a tendency to stay away from something that's been grouted only.
Interesting stuff. Got to take a quick break, and if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Coming back from the break, we're going to be talking a little bit more with Jim Blandford about sinkhole adjustments and the insurance process. So please stay tuned. Be back in a moment.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. In the market for a reverse mortgage? Contact Access Reverse, a local company with personalized service in the Bay Area. Call them at 727-347-0305 or visit accessreverse.com for a no-cost, no-obligation consultation. They'll come to your home and speak with you about the best options for your reverse mortgage. Plus, they offer the lowest closing costs. Don't just get a reverse mortgage. Get the right reverse mortgage with Access Reverse. Visit accessreverse.com. NMLS number 1179063. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. If you're just catching me on the air for the first time, I invite you to tune in every Mondays at noon as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. We're talking with Jim Blandford. He is a realtor with Anclote Key Realty, but has a lot of experience in sinkhole claims adjustments. So we've been talking all about sinkholes here in this last segment. And Jim, I want to talk about a little bit more about what happens when somebody files a claim and they get the insurance proceeds. Are they required to actually fix the home?
Now we're going to break this down to sinkhole and non-sinkhole claims. And a sinkhole claim, yes, they are. They're required to fix the home, and you don't have a whole lot of choice there. If it's a limits loss, if they pay you all your money, if you got a $300,000 policy and you get the $300,000, they cannot make you fix the home. But anything under limits, yes, you have to fix the home.
Okay, so that's where we're getting back to our point there. We got to distinguish between settlement and sinkhole, correct?
Right.
And who, I guess an engineer is the only one that can make that determination?
Well, yeah, they're not going to pay you if it's just a settlement issue. It wouldn't be covered under sinkhole policy.
Okay.
Okay, now I want to talk a little bit. One of my pet peeves is Citizens Insurance. If you take nothing away from the time we spent together today, I want you to, if you have Citizens Insurance, you're going to do everything you can to get rid of them. They are the worst insurance policy in the state of Florida right now. They are the insurance company of last resort. They will tell you that in their advertisements. And you may think that you can't get anybody else, but you know what? You may well be able to get another company to insure you. You have to check for yourself to see if there's other companies available. Now, it may be that the person you're getting your insurance from at the time cannot sell you anything other than Citizens. Okay, and if that's the case, you might want to get a second opinion and see, check with another provider and see if you can get insurance from another company. Citizens, there's so many reasons not to have them. I could do an hour show just on that.
What are some of the biggest problems that you see with Citizens Insurance, though? What are the red flags?
Well, first of all, they spend more money on lawsuits per claim, I think, than any company in the state. You pretty much, in a sinkhole scenario right now, you pretty much have to sue them to get paid. For instance, I had sinkhole coverage. I dropped it because what's happened with sinkhole coverage since Senate Bill 408 in 2011, your deductible is now 10% of your coverage. So, for instance, if you get a $500,000 policy, you have a $50,000 deductible. If you add to that if you have Citizens Insurance, you'll most likely have to sue them to get paid on a sinkhole claim. And we've seen some of the claims that have been out there where there have been conflicts with getting claims paid and houses have collapsed in the meantime. So if you add that 10% deductible of your coverage to the fact you're going to have to pay an attorney a pretty good percentage of your claim to get paid, and most sinkhole losses are not total losses, what's the point of having the coverage? You're better off, in my opinion, self-insuring. Talk to an insurance professional. Only you can make that decision. But it's just something I don't feel it's money well spent.
Now, if your home has had a remediated sinkhole, is Citizens the only ones that will insure it, or will other insurance companies get involved now?
No, there are other companies out there. I believe Lloyd's of London might be one of them. And again, your best bet would be to talk to an insurance professional. But there are other companies now writing coverage on sinkhole repair homes.
Okay, and the history of Citizens, let's refresh my memory on this. They came into the state back in, 2004, correct?
I don't know exactly the year they came in.
I think it was after the hurricanes that we had in that one real bad year back in 2004, and all the insurers fled the state. And then the state, if I'm correct, enacted the Citizens Insurance Company there to kind of be the insurer of last resort. And so, I mean, if your home, has a sinkhole claim and you don't have a sinkhole coverage, I mean, are you just kind of SOL? You got to walk away from it? I mean,
yes, it's no different than having a claim and having no insurance. If you don't have coverage for the peril, wind, water, sinkhole, fire, whatever it is, you wouldn't have coverage. You're not going to get paid by any insurance. You didn't purchase the insurance.
Now, have we noticed any, I guess you're not an insurance, agent, but I'm just trying to wonder, I mean, are there, more insurers coming into the state now and that are working with sinkhole coverage, or is it just still pretty much?
Not so much. There's a few, I think, that work with sinkhole coverage. And again, your best bet would be to talk to an insurance professional, and they'll tell you that. There are more insurance companies coming to the state that are writing property coverages. Okay. And again, you want to check with your insurance people to see what's out there for you. Now, what you've got to watch is that your, when Citizens downsized, a lot of spin-off companies came out, and I call them red-headed stepchildren because they're just mini Citizens. And you want to make sure that you don't insure with one of them because they pretty much carried forth on the same policies and practices that Citizens did. But there's still plenty of good insurance companies out there, and at any given time, one might be available for you to place your insurance in your neighborhood.
Okay. Hey, a lot of great information, Jim. Real quick, how can listeners get in touch with you off the air if they have any more questions about the sinkhole claims process?
Well, you can reach me by phone. My number is 727-946-5761. And the website is www.castletocondo.com.
What is that again? That was kind of quick.
Castle to Condo.
Castle the Condo?
Right.
CastleTheCondo.com.
Yeah.
Well, Jim, thank you very much for coming on the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. A lot of great information. And if you didn't catch his information, you can always find him up on the Tampa Bay radio site after the show as well. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Going to go over to my mortgage market update now. Got Bud Spriggs of Movement Mortgage calling in. Bud, what's going on with you today?
How you doing, Jamie?
Hey, doing great. So how was your weekend?
Weekend was nice. Went down a new place down in St. Petersburg for a little dinner, the Birch and Vine or something like that. It was really good. Really good. Had a good time.
Interesting enough. I didn't think I'd see you over there at the Motley Crue concert. That's where I spent yesterday evening, though. But Alice Cooper was there. You probably are familiar with Alice Cooper, right?
Yeah, he called me up and told me he was coming to town. I just couldn't put the time aside to meet out with him, though.
Yeah. So what do you got for us, with a mortgage update for this week?
Well, an agent or two out of your office, one of them out of your office the other day mentioned, they put a really nice offer in on a property and they actually lost out to a cash buyer, and they knew that the cash buyer came in, a little bit lower than what their offer had come in at, and they were groaning about that. And I told them the way to offset that, something that we'll do that nobody else is doing out on the street right now, is that we'll take your customers. This can go out to your realtors that are listening to you right now, or even your people out there that are just wanting mortgage information, or even buyers. We'll go ahead and get you pre-approved, and while you're looking for a home, I go ahead and fully process your file. I put a to-be-determined address on there so compliance doesn't kick in.
Right.
I get all their income docs, all their assets, and we fully underwrite that loan. So now they're not walking around with a pre-approval in their hand. They're walking around with a full-blown loan commitment. And, you know, if you run up against somebody offering $20,000 less cash buyer, and you've got somebody sitting there with a loan commitment, say, look, this is just subject to an appraisal, title, insurance, you know, you're less likely to lose out to that cash buyer who you know is coming in lowballing them anyway. So it's just another way to save a deal, because, you know, how many offers are you going to put in before the customer, moves on to another property or for sale by owner or whatever. So in other words, just instead of stopping at the pre-approval process, we take them to the full underwriting, get them a full loan commitment.
But then on top of this, I understand that you can close the deal pretty quickly, right?
Yes, we actually, if I submit a loan on Monday morning, now I put a good pile together. Okay, I'm not just throwing stuff up there. But if we submit a loan on Monday morning, more often than not, I'll get my approval by the end of the day, and that starts my processor's clock ticking right there. They have 10 business days to get that loan cleared to close before they start getting letters. So, yeah, we move quickly.
So 10 days to close it.
Yeah, and Bud and I have worked together on a lot of deals, and he comes highly recommended here by the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show as well. Real quick, Bud, before we have to go off air, how can my listeners get in touch with you as always?
You can apply online at budspriggs.com or call me at 727-798-3888.
All right, Bud, I thank you very much again for contributing here to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show, and you have yourself a good week.
Thanks, guys. Have a good week.
Thank you very much. If you're just tuning in here, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins, WHNZ. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in, as this show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. We're talking with today Jerry Hatch with Temco Pest Control, Business Development Director, all about WDO treatments and aardvarks and snakes as well. So call them for all of your pest control needs at TemcoPestControl.com. And also we were talking with fellow realtor and sinkhole adjuster Jim Blandford. He is a realtor with Anclote Key Realty, and we were talking all about sinkholes and the adjustment process and all of that as well. Also in studio today was Stella Giudicelli, fellow realtor with Coldwell Banker. Stella, what do you got planned for the rest of the week? Anything exciting?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I mean, that house is keeping me busy, and it really looks like the market is
the market's doing well.
Very low inventory and a lot of buyers. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got 100 people out to that listing at an open house, so very impressive, and we saw all about that listing in the second segment of the show as well. So I want to wish everybody to have a great week, and I'll see you next week here at noon on the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. Have a great week.
The opinions, viewpoints, and